All right, welcome to the Week 7 Forum. This week we are talking about the efforts that presidents make to lead the public. Now, what does it mean to be a leader? Richard Neustadt was famous for saying that the essence of presidential power is persuasion, and that is to say uh, that presidents wield enormous statutory authority. They're the head of the federal government. They're the commander-in-chief of the military. But at the end of the day, they have to work towards consensus. The more that a president acts in advance of public opinion, the more exposed that president is to, finding themselves in a world of trouble. Just ask Richard Nixon. So, um, the president's ability to get in front of the public is important, and the president's ability, once they're in front of the public, once they have the public's attention, to say the kinds of things that can actually move people, creates an enormous, that's an enormous challenge that presidents have. That first of all, they have to grab the public's attention. And we all know that the American public is kind of all over the place. At any particular point in time, probably half of the American public is not really paying attention. This is something that in the text they talk about the problem of public attentiveness. Fully, a fifth of the American public are just apolitical. They don't care. They don't want to hear what you have to say. So a lot of what presidents do is trying to find the right way to frame an issue. And then once they find that message, they have to hit that message heavily and consistently. Now, I mentioned in the overview, that Donald Trump has attempted to frame building the wall in terms of national security, and he's basically arguing that not only would a wall prevent illegal immigrants from coming in, but also that it would prevent illegal drugs from coming in. I think that is a fairly tenuous argument. I think it's probably more likely that a wall would be, that a wall would tend, a contiguous wall from sea to shining sea would be, the intent behind it clearly would be to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in. I think most of what I have heard and learned about the issue is that most drugs that come into the country come in through ports of entry, and that is simply the math of it, right? If you look at, if you're a narco trafficker, if any of you have watched the show on Netflix, Narcos, NAFTA was great for the drug business, right? And I was listening to a DEA agent on NPR. He said, look, here's the math. DEA agents and the border guard people can only stop at most a third of all the trucks that are coming into the country from Mexico. And if you're a narco trafficker and you think you can get, 7 of 10 loads into the country, you accept that. That is, that's sort of the cost of doing business. And you're still going to make a ton of money doing that. So the idea that building a wall is going to stop illegal drugs coming in, I think, is a little bit wrong, frankly. So, I mean, that's one of the big issues that I think, in terms of leading, framing and things like that, presidents have a tough row to hoe in terms of trying to shift public opinion. A lot of times what presidents try to do is identify issues that are popular, that clearly command large majority support, and kind of hop onto those issues. I think one of the things that this chapter talks about quite a bit is the idea that Donald Trump is the first president to routinely resort to tweeting as a method of reaching the public. How effective is government by tweet as an approach to leading the public, shifting public opinion and doing things like that? That's something that we certainly can talk about. And again, this chapter also deals with the last, 5 or 6 presidents, Reagan, Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. These were all of the two-term presidents, right? Or, well, other than Trump, we don't know about Trump yet. But what effect did these guys have? How effective were they in terms of leading public opinion? And what I think history suggests is that both, all presidents have some wins and they have some losses, and that the wins are getting harder to come by in an environment where the other side is simply determined to give you nothing. That's sort of where we're at right now with with a hyper-partisan political environment. So I think there's no shortage of things to talk about this week, and I hope we can have a very productive discussion.